Hello and welcome to Diamonds and Duds. We'll call this a WrestleCast.
Yeah, well, welcome. I'm Charles Baker.
Oh yeah, I'm Ivan.
Yeah. So, those of you that are followers of the podcast, today is a bonus episode, and today's a little different, right, Ivan?
It is a little different. Charles and I, as kids, were huge wrestling fans, and as adults in our 40s, we've kind of rediscovered that love quite a bit. And since we're doing this podcast for us and for fun, we thought it would be fun to today, in about an hour or so, the Elimination Chamber is going to go. So we're going to go through some predictions, what we think might happen.
Yeah. So, for those of you unfamiliar, if you're like, hey, normally I listen to the movies, but I'll give it a shot. So the Elimination Chamber, it's a special kind of match. Basically, 6 people are in it. 2 people start. They're in kind of cages, supposed to be like metal. Every 5 minutes, another person's randomly released, and they keep going out by pinfalls and until there's one left. There's going to be both a men's one and a women's one.
And the way the WWE has set this up, and I don't know how long, I think it's been going on for a while, but basically the WWE has one show that's on Netflix now called Raw. They have one show that's on USA now called SmackDown. Each has their own title. Initially, it was like their own main title. It was initially, I think, the thought was that both titles would be, the same level of importance. As you can imagine, one title kind of naturally became the bigger title when one, say, more popular person gets that one, which is the Raw title. The reason I mention this is because what WWE does is the winner of the Royal Rumble gets to pick who they want to go against in WrestleMania. The winner of the Elimination Chamber basically gets the other one.
Yeah, and so the Elimination Chamber, the match itself started, now we're about 23 years ago, started in 2002, really shortly into Shawn Michaels' return. Guy by the name of Eric Bischoff, famous in circles, he's the guy that kind of designed it. The first match, if you go back and watch it, it's fucking punishing because they designed, it's very metal. It wasn't designed with wrestling in mind in terms of, and so it is brutal and punishing.
Because I recently just on YouTube, if you're curious about that first one, I didn't watch the whole thing, but if you search Shawn Michaels and Booker T on YouTube, the two of them do a reaction to because both of them were in the first ever Elimination Chamber, and both of them had, up at that point, had wrestled quite a bit. Both of them had done cage matches before, which is, even if you don't know wrestling is, you know what a cage. But if you think about the cage matches literally are if you think about as kids, those chain link fences that are at your house. When you get thrown against it, it doesn't really hurt unless you got thrown from a long way. It doesn't really hurt because it gives, and a lot of it's the wrestlers, basically acting out the Elimination Chamber is not that. It is the way Booker T described it, because he didn't see it until the first time until he got to the ring.
Yeah, nobody did.
And because it's obviously different now because they don't hate the wrestlers now. But the original Elimination Chamber was sharp.
Yeah.
It was like basically Booker T, as he was talking to Shawn Michaels, he's like, yeah, I didn't tell you this. Basically, once he saw the ring, all he cared about was not having a career-ending injury, and he couldn't give 2 fucks about having a good match.
Yeah.
He was going to be perfectly fine if he went out first.
Yeah.
They both just didn't want to get a career end. And Shawn Michaels was saying, because he had just come back.
Yeah, that was his second match back. And he, multiple decades, it was spoilers. Shawn Michaels won that to become the champion. He didn't want to win. He was very adamant, because he had come back from 5 years. He was very adamant that, he never wanted to win another world title again. He was convinced to do it on the condition that he would drop the title the next month. He felt that in his initial run, Shawn Michaels had drug problems, had very me problems. He felt that he should not hold the title again. He felt that his rest of his career, he should be the last kind of guy that you got to get through in order to get to the title or to get your superstar status. But yeah, so that's kind of the originations of the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, and basically what this is there's a men's one, there's a women's one, and I don't know, and to be honest, I didn't watch last year. I kind of fell into a lot of this stuff after this point last year, and I don't even know if I knew that Peacock had all the at this point last year, if I even knew that Peacock had all the basically pay-per-views on there for free as long as you have their service. And so basically both of them, it's like both of them are the who's who of the division now.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so we're going through the women's first. We have Liv Morgan, who in my opinion, would have been the MVP. In my opinion, was the MVP. Her or Drew McIntyre were the MVP wrestlers of 2024.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because a lot of there's her. She in the last few number of months she dropped her title. I want to say last night or in the last week or so she just got the the tag team.
She
title.
and Rachel. Yeah.
There's Bianca Belair, who's I think won this before.
Yeah, and she Bianca has a long storied history. She's one of the most powerful women in wrestling. One of the and one of the really most dominant faces of the last 10, 15 years. But Bianca's had a great career. You also got this interesting one in the women's is Roxanne Perez.
Yes.
She is from NXT, which is the developmental for WWE, and starting with the Royal Rumble, she's gotten kind of pushed to the moon.
What do they call it? The Iron. In this case, wasn't she the Iron Woman of the Royal Rumble?
Yeah, she broke the record
basically,
that Liv set in that Rumble.
And what that is, if you're not sure what that is, basically that means that she lasted. She didn't win the Royal Rumble, but she lasted the longest.
Yeah, and she got second. I like that, and that shocked me as much.
Yeah.
Was the fact that they had Roxanne notch second, and so she's also in this one. I would expect usually after the WrestleMania season they do a draft. You can expect Roxanne to get drafted to Raw or SmackDown and to get a full push.
Yeah, I'm almost every once in a while someone just sort of ends up with outside of the draft. I'm almost wondering if she's going to end up just sort of up there.
It very well might.
You have Naomi, who is Bianca's tag team partner, which we'll go through more of this. I think there's going to be some stuff happening.
Me too.
There's Naomi, who's Bianca's tag team partner. There's probably my current favorite female, Bayley. She's hilarious, and she gives Michael Cole a lot of shit, which I find really fun.
Yeah. And then we have Alexa Bliss. She just recently came back to the Rumble. She's a great competitor. A lot of back when there was like the Wyatt the Fiend stuff. She was involved in the when Bray Wyatt.
Because she was gone for about 2 years, partly for injury, but also didn't she have a kid?
I think so.
Yeah.
So every once in a while when I'm watching wrestling, my wife, I'll force my wife to watch a little bit just because if I want to watch it on the main TV or whatnot. And I will say she does enjoy the women's division, which me too. Like the shit that they can do.
Because this isn't like if any of you used to watch the wrestling during what they call the Attitude Era with The Rock and Stone Cold. This isn't the women's division from there where it was like bra and panties matches and dumb shit like that. This is a legitimate. What they can do is really
they seem to be more, and just in general. I don't mean to generalize, but it seems to be a lot more common for women in the women's division to be able to do like those really really cool flips, just really really outrageously awesome maneuvers. And my wife, she also does she doesn't see a lot, but we watch Saturday Night's Main Event and one or two others. She likes Liv Morgan as well.
Yeah,
she likes Liv Morgan.
What I love about Liv Morgan's a troll, and I absolutely love that.
Yeah. So, do we want to make predictions about the women's elimination?
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk. My first prediction is, and obviously they say that a lot of this stuff is like, oh, we drew it out of a hat for who starts where.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if once they're the four in the things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's random. I think the two they're going to start in the ring are Bianca and Naomi.
Yeah, and I don't actually. I'm pretty sure that those are even set because because they're famous and like Undertaker years ago he got burned on his entrance on the way to the Elimination, he knew that he was the last one coming out. So he knew that he was got to sit in that in his cage with his second degree burns for like 20 minutes. And if you ever look, you look up again. I actually am thinking a little bit. I actually think they're going to save that. I think Roxanne is going to be out there, but I think Bailey.
Yeah.
Well, Bailey. I think Roxanne's definitely out there. Beyond that, I definitely think Liv, Bianca, and Alexa will be in cages. I think to start.
Okay, and I think the win. I'm just going to say I think the winner is Bianca. I think that's why they took. And if someone's a betting person, it's probably the lowest odds because it's like I think they took the tag team titles off of Bianca and Naomi the other night and I think that's because they're going to have Bianca. Or they also could be throwing us for it and having Naomi, which Naomi's just as capable.
Yeah, I also think Bianca, but I think we're going to get a culmination of a storyline play out tonight.
Okay.
So a while back, originally Naomi wasn't one of the tag team champions. It was Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill got off-screen attacked. Been out for a while. It's been a big mystery. We've been led to believe Liv Morgan and her partner Raquel were the ones to attack. I don't think it was.
No, I think
it was Bianca.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was Bianca.
I think we're getting a Bianca heel turn in this. In the end of this match, because I think Jade is going to come back and kind of attack Bianca, and it's going to lead. And I think just separately, and it's going to lead to Bianca's going to turn, and you'll probably have the Naomi and Jade together kind of splinter off. And I agree that Bianca is going to win this. I think it's going to come down to, in the end, I think the last two are Bianca and Liv. Liv Morgan.
Yeah, I think that. I think the first couple out are probably, to be honest, Roxanne and Alexa Bliss in some sort of order are probably the first two out. Partly because I think they want to. The other four are kind of the top four non-champions right now. Yeah, Alexa Bliss would be, but like she literally just came back, and I think everyone knows that they're not going to have Alexa at this point, because they need to have her build up a little bit before she does.
Yeah, and one thing to watch, if Jade does come back, they got to time it right because the Elimination Chamber is locked. Okay, so like people can't come in, and so they have had run-ins before. A couple of years ago, Logan Paul ran in and he started his whoever I forget who he faced at WrestleMania that year. But he wasn't part of the chamber match. And the way to do it is you do it when someone gets pinned. They open it. So what I think is going to happen, I think Naomi is the third one pinned. Okay. I think, or Naomi's basically going to get out fairly close to somebody else getting out, because it's going to be Jade's going to come in during the previous opening. They'll have all that go down, and whatever happens, I think it's going to end with then Naomi getting out. And so that's what I think. So that's kind of what I think is going to happen there. I think Bailey's going to be the third one left.
Okay.
Just because Bailey's a star. And you can see Bailey winning. Bailey, Liv, and Bianca, that's a great final three to me.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have Bailey win the whole thing. But yeah, I think that's a good final three. But okay, so next, let's save the men's elimination and the Rock Cody thing for last.
Agreed.
Let's just go to the other women's match. We have Trish Stratton, who is the current...
Tiffany Stratton.
Tiffany Stratton, thank you.
Tiffany time.
Tiffany Stratton, who's one of the champions right now, with Trish Stratus, who's a Hall of Famer, came back during the Royal Rumble, going up against
Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. So this is good. They've been feuding for a while. Tiffany Stratton a couple months ago, she's been shot to the moon. She's fairly new, but she's gained huge popularity. She has a background as a gymnast, which I think has really helped her career. She had won the Money in the Bank, so they and she was kind of a member, a friend of Jackson. We were actually there when she won the title.
Yeah, it was cool. I think this one is going to, and I think the purpose of this one is to build up Tiffany Stratton as being even more powerful. I have a feeling this is going to be like just completely one-sided and completely dominated. But it has nothing to do, like, Nia Jax is amazing.
Yeah.
But I think the purpose of this is to show how great Tiffany Stratton is for when she faces, what's her name?
Charlotte Flair.
When she faces Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, to help build her up a little bit. Even more. So I think Stratton and Stratus are going to win pretty soon.
Do you think Flair makes an appearance at all?
I think she makes an appearance. She walks down to where the announcer's desk are. She sits down. She says maybe 2 sentences, and that's probably about it.
I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I don't think she's going to get physically involved because for those who don't know, Charlotte Flair won the Royal Rumble, so at WrestleMania she's already declared she's going against Tiffany Stratton. So that match is set.
She hasn't said why.
Yeah.
But she said she's going up against.
Yeah. Now, the real reason why is because they know that we've seen Rhea Ripley, the other champion, versus Charlotte Flair a bunch, and we know that they don't want that. Yeah. Whereas Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair is kind of new. So yeah, I don't think she's going to get physical. I think this will be a more tightly contested. I do think Stratton and Stratus do come out with a win. It'll be good to see Trish Stratus again. Like I said, she's a legend. She's in the Hall of Fame. It'd be good to see her perform because she comes around every once in a while. Every couple of years, she does a couple things. Last time she came with another Hall of Famer, Lita, and they put a couple people over. During WrestleMania season. I don't know if we'll see her if she'll be at WrestleMania, but it's just good to see her here.
Yeah. All right, next we have Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
In an unsanctioned match.
I know what they're going for here. What they're trying to say is that, like, yeah, we're not sanctioning, you're putting it at.
It always makes me laugh when they do the unsanctioned match. The other kind of there's been more than just the other famous one that I remember is Shawn Michaels' return match against Triple H. That was unsanctioned because we just can't sanction you wrestling because of your back. And then Shawn Michaels wrestle for another eight.
And I
years.
think obviously this one they've been building up to for quite a while, and this one is going to be probably the brutal and potentially the best match of the night. Is my guess, because in real life, outside of this, Owens and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are like best friends.
Yeah, they've been best friends.
They've been best friends as they were going through, the independent scene together. I think this is also similar to the women's elimination. I think it's obvious that Kevin Owens is going to win this.
Yeah. Yeah, and so if you're wondering what are the rules for an it's a no disqualification, no DQ, no disqualification, no count out. That's what it is. It's just giving it, a more intimidating name, like our hands are. It's no DQ. So yeah, there'll be a lot of weapons. There'll be a lot of cool spots. They'll be fighting outside the ring a lot. I agree. Kevin Owens, first of all, his heel turn has been like chef's kiss. He's really done a great job. I'm curious to see how they do this because I don't think we're seeing Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. One, we've seen it at a WrestleMania undercard before, but the fact about it, they're not going to have it this month and then have it 6 weeks later. This is in this match. Randy Orton's coming back.
Yeah, I think Randy Orton's either coming back during this match to help save Sami Zayn. Or he's coming back at Raw on Monday to announce that he's coming after Kevin Owens at WrestleMania.
So I think they gotta. However, if they do Randy Orton, they do have to be careful because they gotta have Kevin Owens go over here, and so that's why I can see it. Maybe Orton comes out after the match, like once the match is over, something like that, or he comes in briefly, but like he doesn't cost Owens a match, or his time is brief, and then it kind of goes on. So I'm curious, but I do think Owens is going over, and it's going to lead to Orton versus Owens at WrestleMania, that'll be a good one. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am too. Tell you what, let's do Rock Cody next.
I think that. Yeah, I think that. So Rock Cody. So the Rock.
God, this is weird.
The Rock. First of all, I know one thing. If you're a wrestling fan, listen. The comment is there's a lot of people that don't like the Rock's promos. The last two. Like, there's a lot of people think this whole Rock is an actual one. He's one of the members of the board, and he's come back. We don't know if he's wrestling yet or not, but he's basically come to try to convince Cody to turn heel and be like corporate stooge champion. Is what he's doing with the whole stealing the soul. I will say that I absolutely love this here, and I think it's been great. Stealing the soul is a little weird, but I think that's kind of by design.
No, I think it's a little cheesy, but I think The Rock is leaning into the cheesy, which I think is making it work.
Yeah, because here's one of the reasons why I love this. Okay, after the Royal Rumble, here's what I had, and I felt it was written in pen. Okay, Jey Uso versus Gunther. That is in pen because Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble. Yeet. Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the title because he was going to win Elimination Chamber. Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. Probably the night one thing. I felt that was set in stone, and I felt we had Drew versus Priest set in stone. That's how I felt after Royal Rumble. When The Rock came back not this past Friday, but the Friday before, after that erased to me everything except obviously Jey Uso versus Gunther. So now a lot of I don't know where it's going to go yet, and that's good. That's a good thing. It is a good thing.
Here's what I think is going to happen. The other half of what I think is going to happen, we'll talk about here during the men's elimination.
Yeah,
I think Cody accepts it. Is what I think. I think he accepts it, which I think because if Triple H has proved anything over the last year, is that he has no problems. He has no problem doing the unexpected, but also he has no problem changing his mind with as we saw last year with the Rock came in and basically demanded that he was fighting Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Cody winning the Royal Rumble be damned.
Yeah.
And the fans are like, that's really fucking dumb. And so they're like, hey, we're kidding.
Yeah.
And so I think Cody accepts it.
Okay. So, and funny thing is about there's been kind of an internal fight going on with a lot of the fans that were saying that, no, we need to have Cody win and whatnot. Because there's some of that same group of fans is pissed to high heaven that Rock versus Reigns is almost guaranteed not happening at WrestleMania. And then there's a section of those WWE fans like, well, we would have had it last year. If not. Now, I like the way it all played out. I'm glad Cody got his shot and everything. But I just think it's funny.
Because let's be honest, okay? A Rock Roman Reigns match is not time sensitive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no reason that couldn't happen at WrestleMania 45. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that, but that's not something time sensitive that has to happen now.
Yeah. I think it might happen depending upon schedules and whatnot. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually happens at 42.
No, yeah.
Because,
yeah.
Again, there's rumors, and these are very, very generalized rumors that 42 might be Rock's last WrestleMania if he wrestles, but that's not based off anything anybody's said. It's only based on the fact that it would be a roughly 30-year mark. So,
yeah.
But no, I think The Rock Cody, I actually think that Cody's going to decline it.
Okay.
But I don't, and I think, and I think it's that segment's gonna be before the men's elimination.
Yes. Without it, I think the men's elimination wraps everything up.
If that segment is after men's, then I'm pretty much ready to say that I am wrong, and it'll be you. But I think it's going to be before, because I do think there's going to be something that plays out in the men's elimination connected to Rough. So I'm actually going to go Cody declines.
Okay.
I'm going Cody declines. So now, the men's elimination chamber match. I'm looking forward to this one.
This is like outside of one douchebag. This is kind of the who's who of the men's. And let's be honest, everybody hates Logan Paul. And I'm going to say something here. Everybody hates Logan Paul with good reason.
Yeah.
Him and his brother are assholes. Okay. However, I will say, if Logan Paul had started in the WWE, or like he got popular on YouTube a little bit, but before he really started stealing money from his fans allegedly, and all the Japan, if he ended up in the WWE first, like, he was made for this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He is 100%, and people will say, "Oh, he's only good because he can practice his matches for 6 months and makes." No, he's still doing it. He's the last 6 months he's been on TV a lot more than last year his big gimmick was he wasn't good, but like he'd get brass knuckles and punch you with brass. He does these giant high flips that most of these long-term wrestlers don't do.
Oh yeah, again, as a human, I think he's John. I was sold on him as a performer when it was not a couple years ago now in the Royal. I think it was Cody's first win. That was Logan.
Ricochet.
Yep, that was Logan's first Royal Rumble, and they both got Ricochet, who's now in AEW. They both got on the top, the opposing middle.
One of the most
amazing
things.
And they just looked at each other. They looked at each other. You can see they said, "Want to go for it?" And one of them said, "Want to go for it," and the other said, "Screw it." And they left, and they met each other in the middle, and it worked. And they just, and it was a great spot.
So we have Logan Paul, we have Damian Priest, who from a big man standpoint is probably the number one. I wouldn't count Drew as an up and comer. Obviously, I would say Priest is probably one of the biggest up and comer. Like in the next 5 years, he's going to be in these top things all over the place.
Yeah,
we have Drew McIntyre. We have Seth Rollins, who's my favorite guy. I think he has no chance here. We have John Cena, and we have CM Punk.
CM Punk. So I'm first of all
who's out first?
I think Priest is out first.
See,
could be Drew.
See, I think Logan Paul is out first.
Okay,
because I think we're going to have something very funny happen. Okay? It's going to be a big long fight before anybody first is out. Okay, but I think by the time Seth, Drew, and Punk are going to be and they all kind of hate each other.
Yeah.
Okay, they're going to be in there with Logan Paul, and the three of them who hate each other are all going to they're all going to beat on Logan Paul until Logan Paul gets out.
All do their finishers.
They're all going to do finishers. They're not going to fight each other at all until Logan Paul.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to match like this to get out, because in the original Elimination Chamber match, the Big Red Monster Kane was there, and they because. When it got down to 4 left, Triple H, Michaels, Jericho, and Kane, they had to figure out a way to get Kane out without diminishing it. So all three of them rotated.
And I think that's the kind of thing.
I think it'll be the same here.
If someone's not a wrestling fan, you would think, "Oh, Logan Paul will be pissed at that." But no, Logan Paul is a wrestling fan, and Logan Paul will realize what that looks like.
Yeah, he'll look strong.
He'll look, and so I think. It could be Priest first, and then they do that. But I really think it's going to be a really funny thing of these three guys who hate each other, but hate Logan Paul way more, and they just want to make sure Logan Paul gets out.
I think it's going to come. I think our final three are Seth, Punk, and Cena.
Yeah, I can see that.
Final three are Seth, Punk, and Cena. I think there's an outside small chance of Roman costing Seth. I don't think so, but I'm not willing to put that at 0. But I do think our final two are Punk and Cena. Because to me, those are the only two that have any percentage chance of winning.
See, I disagree. I think the last three is actually going to be Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, and Cena. I don't think Cena has the percentage chance that people think. I think that, and I don't think this is going to happen. I think there's an outside shot. Let's say Cody turns down, The Rock. I think there's an outside chance they have Drew win. Because then Drew is The Rock's champion.
So you're kind of going on the train that I see here is because I think Cody's going to turn him down, and this is where I see interference. And this is where I see a heel turn. I think it's going to be Punk. The only reason, and I can see Drew being third, and I can even see Drew being there instead of Punk. My only reason why I'm not personally going Drew is because he won it last year. But that doesn't. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. I think Punk is going to turn and join Rock, but I'd say to me 75% chance Punk turns, 25% chance we get a Cena turn.
Cena turn would be funny,
but I think one of those two is going to turn and join Rock.
What I think is going to happen is I think Cody accepts it, and this will kind of lead us into our predictions for WrestleMania, is I think Punk wins. And so it's Punk versus Cody with The Rock in his corner at WrestleMania. And I think, you good? Did you say who you think's going to win?
Yeah, no, I think Punk. I think Punk. Oh, sorry, I didn't.
No.
I didn't, but no, I also think Punk's going to win.
But
I think Punk's good, because I think Punk's going to, his betrayal's going to win it for him.
And so I don't think he does a heel turn. I think it's Cody Rock in the one corner. And I think at WrestleMania, at some point, they're going to have Seth versus Roman Reigns, on day one at some point, whether it's opening because they want to have Jay and Gunther. But I think it's probably the closing part for night one. They might throw a third person in there. That might be where Cena ends up. Cena's going to end up, I think, at this WrestleMania someplace weird, because I don't think he ends up in a title thing. But what I think happens is that you remember how Punk has his one of the things when they did what's the name of that thing? It's not Survivor Series.
War Games.
When they did War Games, Roman Reigns got Punk to be on his side, or what do you call it? Heyman got Punk to be on their side, but Heyman owed him a favor.
Yeah.
Okay. And I heard this from. I can't take credit for this. I forget who I heard this from. What I think's going to happen for the main event, Charles, is that Punk's going to cash in that favor for the main event at WrestleMania this year.
Yeah.
And Roman Reigns is going to be in his corner to make sure The Rock doesn't interfere with that match. And to make sure. But Roman still has his match night one.
Yeah.
Okay. But then Roman Reigns. But I think this also will complete Roman Reigns' he's not a heel anymore,
Yeah.
And also will basically distance himself from the bloodline and all. Because part of me just wonders if, considering Punk's history, I think he hates The Rock in real life. That's what I get. And even if they told him he was supposed to do that, I think it would be hard for Punk to actually be willing.
See, I think it would, because he's done it before.
Yeah. True.
But
that's what I think.
That's good, and I think that would be a good main event. What I think is gonna, I think, Cody's gonna turn down Rock, and I think Punk, Now, I think things could end up things are gonna end up very similar, regardless of whether, in my scenario, whether Punk or Cena turns. Because I think that championship match is not in the WrestleMania. I don't think it's going to be a 1 versus 1.
Okay.
I think Punk wins. So I think Punk versus Cody. But I think Rock's going to end up inserting himself, and I think Cena's. I think we have a fatal 4-way: Rock, Punk, Cena, and Cody, obviously. and I can see the favor. I can see that. I think you're right. I think the favor may still come into play, whereas Punk gets like at some point late in the match, Roman, does a run in, or maybe they plan on stashing that favor. They plan on having Punk going over and winning at WrestleMania, and then using that. I do think, regardless of who Cody faces, I think the only scenario in which he wins is if for some reason he faces The Rock one-on-one, which I don't think he will. So that's the only. So in pretty much any
and
scenario,
nothing against Cody. They need to have Cody lose.
Yeah, I think Cody loses. I think Jay versus Gunther opens night one.
I think that, and they can position in such a way that yes, it's not the quote unquote main event, but anybody who knows anything about this knows that the openers are just as important as the closer.
It's a highly sought spot.
It's a highly sought spot. It sets everything off on the right tone. People talk about how they've had bad matches, but the last match they had was a damn close to a 5-star match.
Yeah.
And I think obviously they're going to have Jey Uso win that, because I don't think you can have him lose to Gunther as much as he has and not.
Yeah, I think you're going to have Roman versus Rollins. Now, the one thing I can also see is the person I see is kind of without a home at the moment. Is Drew. Yeah. Now, if Drew doesn't have a prime spot, I don't honestly feel bad for Drew, because Drew main evented one of the nights, because Drew, had a title shot. So, that being said, I can see them wrapping him, because, he's been on a tear against the Foreign Bloodline. I can see him folding in and going and joining the Roman versus Rollins match. Also, the rumor was that the plan at Rumble was to build a Priest versus Drew match, and I can see that still happen.
I can see that still happening.
And I think that's probably what's going to happen.
I can see that probably happening too. The other thing, I think, and you mentioned this to me, was it yesterday, the day before? I think they are going to have some sort of ladder match for the Intercontinental title. And we talked about this yet. I think that. What's the name of the guy who has the Intercontinental?
Intercontinental is Braun Breaker.
Yeah. They need to have Braun Breaker start talking.
Yeah, they do.
And I know part of it is that he's still, because he didn't come up to the main roster till after WrestleMania last year. So part of it is that he's still young, and part of it's also they have so many damn people. It's a good problem to have, but they have so many damn people that need time.
Yeah.
But I think he needs to force his way into talking a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't think he wins.
No. I think he's in that, obviously, because he's the Intercontinental Champion. I think Finn Balor for sure is there.
I would like to see Finn Balor win that.
I think AJ Styles is in that match. AJ Styles is not going to win.
See, I don't think AJ Styles ends up. I'll tell you where I think AJ ends up.
I think Jacob Fatu.
Yeah,
is in that one. If they don't do Fatu versus Solo, which I don't want them to do Fatu.
No,
I don't want nothing against Solo. I don't want him to have a Mania match. I think they throw Penta in there.
Yeah,
it's a good spot for Penta to showcase.
Yeah,
himself. Maybe I can see young guy Carmelo Hayes or Ludwig Kaiser.
I think Ludwig Kaiser is quietly also. Wasn't he like part of Gunther's?
He is.
Yeah. Okay, that's right.
He's part of Gunther's Imperium.
Oh, and apparently him and Tiffany Stratton have been together for quite a while.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I think I'm not gonna say I think. I would like to see Finn Balor, because I think, like a lot of people, I would like to see them do right by Finn Balor, and I think Finn Balor was doing good stuff in in Judgment Day, but I think he needs to, the same way Priest and Rhea Ripley needed to get away from Judgment Day, he needs to, at this point, get away from Judgment Day and then, but start
That's a dead faction.
Yeah.
It's a dead faction. I think we're seeing the Demon at WrestleMania. Because one of his, famous previous gimmicks is, Demon Finn Balor. There have been clues.
That's not owned by another faction or anything, right?
No, he did that. There's always WWE.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was like one of those things where, hey, he did it in Japan or something, so Japan owns it or something.
No, he did a few years ago. He did a program with Edge before he left, and he brought Demon Finn Balor back. He was, I think, I may be wrong, but I think when he was in NXT, he was a demon for a lot of that, and it was kind of the beginning. So there's been some demon images in the background of his promos and things for the Judgment Day the last few weeks. So some people thinks that Demon's coming back at WrestleMania, whether permanently or on a one-off.
Now, you good to move on?
Yeah.
I said I didn't think AJ Styles was going to end up there. I think AJ Styles has a match. I think it's him versus Logan Paul.
Because I
think they're going to give them not for a title, but one of those like time slots. Because I think as much as people are going to hate it, they want in 5 years they want Logan Paul to still be one of the top. Because they're at the point now where they don't need their top guys to be. They don't wrestle 100 nights a year.
No,
it's the kind of thing where if they need to have time off for 3 months to clear their head, they can do that now.
Yeah.
And so someone like Logan Paul easily can be it's going to really piss people off.
Yeah, AJ would probably AJ's at the point of his career where he can put on good matches, but he's putting over talent.
Yeah.
Like Logan Paul would win a match versus AJ Styles. Probably.
And so that's what I think happens.
Yeah, and I actually thinking about it, I actually think that the Intercontinental will be multi-man, but I don't think it's going to be the ladder match. I actually think they are going to do a ladder match, but I think they're going to do a ladder match scrum for one of the tag team things. I think because both tag team belts will not be defended at WrestleMania for the men's, same as the women. I think there will be one for the men's, and I think there will be one for the women's. I think the men's will be multi because I think there's one team they want to be at WrestleMania, and that's the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, I think they want War Raiders to be out there.
Yeah, the only problem is those are different. They're different. Yeah. So maybe if they do like last year, last year the tag titles were unified. They de-unified it, and they had both sets of tag titles up there. And it's just for a ladder match, and they had, if you recall, it's just two separate. I would like to see that again, but regardless of what they do, I think I'll see Motor City Machine Guns in it, and then just some of the other people that maybe both teams have been feuding with. It's a way to get a lot of people in to get a Mania match. I think one of the women's titles will be defended, and I do think that's Liv Morgan and Raquel versus Jade and Naomi.
I think that would be perfect.
Yeah, and I think Liv and Ray. Personally, I think Liv and Ray will go over.
Yeah, I think they need to
on that one. Women, obviously, because we both think Bianca's going to win, we think it's Bianca versus Ripley, which I don't think we really had, and I'm looking forward to that one. I think that opens night 2.
I think that opens night 2 also because in any other year, Rhea versus Bianca easily should be a closing headliner match. I think that's a good one to have open up.
Yep.
Night 2.
I think we get obviously we're getting Tiffy versus Charlotte Flair. I do think Tiffy's going over.
Oh yeah. It does no good. Nothing against Charlotte Flair. It does no good to have Charlotte. And part of this is not her fault because, from what I understand, it was just random weirdness. Like if McMahon didn't know what to do, he just sort of would give Charlotte Flair the title for 2 weeks, and it was like that's why she has like 14 or 15.
Yeah,
And so, but I also think they just need to get to the point where they just don't care how many times people have won the title. Because it's like,
Well, that's why I think what you need to do at some point during this, John Cena run is you get John Cena 17. So that way, all right, it's done. Somebody passed Flair. And so now you can kind of just let that die.
Yeah.
So I do think.
And what I think happens with that, to be honest, Charles, is I think Jay beats Gunther. Gets that one.
Yeah.
Okay? But I think then Cena beats Jay. I think like at
yeah.
SummerSlam or something
Yeah.
like that. It's a way to, because Cena has no problem. This is not just because he's retiring. Cena, over the course of his career, has no problem. And not that Jay needs to get over. He might be the most over wrestler in like the last 20 years.
Yeah.
But I think Cena would enjoy helping him get over even.
Oh, totally.
But I think it's because also Jay's not someone who's going to have the title for. It also lets Triple H do something fun once the title's off Cena.
Yeah.
They can do a tournament. They can do something fun. But that's what I think happens. Is I think Jay beats Gunther, and then at some point Cena beats Jay, and that's what gives him his.
I do think we have one more women's match that we get.
Okay.
I think they've been building, they've been shooting her to the moon. I think we get Roxanne versus Bayley at WrestleMania. Roxanne makes her to be, because they've been planting the seeds both on NXT and the big brands for a Bayley versus Roxanne feud.
Yeah.
I think we actually.
I think Alexa Bliss will end up in some match. They're going to have her at WrestleMania somewhere. I don't know where that is. They'll probably whether she gets inserted into a triple threat with something, or if they have something where a bunch of the women go for one of the mid. Although she's above being on the mid card.
I think there's a possibility she gets left out. The fact that odds are Triple H is not going to go more than 5 to maybe 6 matches per night. Yeah. 6 is probably the highest he's going to go. And I think there's going to be some good people left off, but that's a good problem to have, to be honest.
Yes.
So should be interesting.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And we went 45. I wasn't sure how long we were going to go. I think Charles and I easily could talk about this for another hour.
Yeah, but the Elimination Chamber is going to be starting at some point. So.
Yeah, so we should probably watch that.
So,
all right. Follow us on Twitter, X. That's the same thing. YouTube,
Blue Sky, Facebook, the TikTok.
Cool. And tell us what you thought. Was this horrible? Do you want to hear more?
Yep.
And see you and have a good one.
Adios.